Everybody, I am back again for another episode of ArmTalk. And right now, the evening portion of ArmTalk, I have a major guest. His name is Corey West. He's Monster Michael Todd's partner in crime in arm wrestling. Corey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
You know, I'm doing pretty good. Before we went live, we chatted a second ago about getting ready for Worlds, and thank God I'm not in the Michael Todd class because I just don't want to be a footnote. You know what I mean? I don't want to be his highlight reel. But yeah. Other than that, just doing pretty good. Getting ready to go to Worlds, and the family's coming with me. Wife, kids, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, niece, nephews. So it's a real big thing for us to do our vacation down there in Orlando, Florida. So I'm excited.
Very cool.
Now, take us back to last year, and I was there in person, Idaho, TAL3, and you had a mega match. And much respect needs to be said because you suffered an injury pulling Dave Chafee left hand. It was a bicep injury. However, that same afternoon, you still went ahead and pulled Wayne Withers on the right and continued to beat him 3-0. Take us back then and let us know exactly what was going through your mind against Dave Chafee.
Man, it was kind of weird. I've not been hurt a lot in my life, so it was strange. But first thought initially was that I was done and there wouldn't be anything I could do, and didn't know how severe the injury was. And kind of back then, my job was a little different. I was worried about missing work and things like that. But I got kind of I wasn't not calm, but I kind of got my wits about me and hated the fact that Wayne had made that trip last minute, and I didn't think it was really fair to him to not give it a shot. So the initial thought was to just try and see how it went and go from there. And it ended up not really having much effect on the way I pulled against Wayne. So I mean, I wouldn't think it was fair to kind of say that he pulled an injured version of me, because it didn't. I wouldn't have pulled him any differently,
Right. And it goes to show you that day was just it goes to show you about adrenaline, because the same event, Corey hurts his arm against Dave Chafee, he pulls Wayne Withers, no problem. Cody Merritt hurts his arm, breaks it or whatever in the second match against Robbie Topi, and it's like, okay, you got all this going on. It goes to show you that adrenaline does play a factor. Now, when everything comes down, it's like, okay, now the pain really sets in. What was your thought when you went into surgery going, okay, how long I'm going to be out for? What was your thought process at that point?
Man, I didn't really know. I had a lot of good people reach out to me. Me and Cody are pretty good friends, and several other, Craig Touye was at the event. He'd had the same injury. Todd Hutchins at the same event. He'd had the same injury on both arms. Everybody kind of talked me off the ledge before I made it to the ledge. I wasn't too worried about it. Everybody was, almost optimistic on, where I'll be a year away with the connection being better, and the connection point being better for leverage, and just the ways that it could benefit me. And, the regression was tough, but it wasn't too awful.
Nice. And then more often times than not, when some people get surgeries, whether it be a bicep or a tricep or whatever, they seem to say that sometimes you're a lot stronger after the surgery as you were before. Do you think some of that may be true?
Not for me yet. But, I kind of got aggravated. I went to IFA Nationals. That was the first time I'd competed.
Yeah.
Since the injury, I was about 4 weeks released, I think, on the left. I didn't think that there would be, I didn't think there'd be any top level guys there for one. I was like, I'll just go give it a try. I really wasn't wanting to compete that soon.
Right.
And then I can't say his last name very good, but the Alex kid out of Florida from Russia, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he ended up being there. I didn't even get time to kind of, to get anything under my belt before I had to pull somebody pretty decent level, and it just took a little bit of adjusting, and my head still, like he got out of my hand one time, and prior to the injury, my hand never gave. I never lost my hand, and even against Dave, my hand stayed. I didn't lose my hand at all.
Right.
And he got some leverage out on me, and my hand dumped, and it sent a jolt up my arm, and just kind of worried. Instinct was to grab it and worry what could have happened. But in reality, it was fine. I just not as strong yet in some areas.
And I'll be honest with you, Corey, when I think that was like June, I think the IFA Nationals, and even I was like going, is Corey really going to pull? Because you got to know, coming off of surgery, and I had surgery before on my shoulder back in 2013, and I was skeptical and I had it back in March of that year, and my first event was July, and I was skeptic, like, okay, it's different when you have training partners because your partners will take care of you. Whereas you go to a tournament, you got guys that want to win. And when you are who you are and you train with who you train with, there are people out there, I want to get that win no matter what. And so you got to kind of really be smart and go, okay, do I just 100% just balls through the walls? Or do I want to be smart about that and go, you know what? If I know I can't come back, I'm going to let you have it. But know that I'm not really mentally there for you. Physically, you might have been there, but maybe not mentally. Do you think that might have played a factor by chance?
Man, I don't know. It was a whole lot of me just not having everything mentally all there yet, probably with my left. Because me and Alex ended up pulling afterwards. And a lot of times if I had felt somebody with a stronger hand, like with Dave,
right,
like I could feel Dave's strength. And if you go back and watch, I intentionally slip, because my mind's 100% in it. I'm trying to manipulate the situation to my benefit.
Right.
And, with Alex, like everything just slipped my mind. I didn't try to slip. I didn't try to, the only thing that I ended up doing, he fouled out of the first match. And then in the setup, he had a ton of side pressure. He was shoving me out of center. He was, starting early. He was carving. And that was a little bit my fault, a little bit, the refs not catching it. But all I did in the final match was make sure that his wrist was on Leonard's side. And, whenever he'd try to apply center side pressure in the setup, I just wouldn't fight it. And then Leonard, caught it and made us start fair. And it went in my favor pretty easy then. But Alex is really strong. There's no doubt about it. I pulled him a couple times out of the strap afterwards and let him get out on me. And he put me in positions that I wasn't quite willing to fight yet. Right. Inside the strap, I was pretty dominant. But, anyways, strong guy. I think he just beat Carl Stanley and took second to Cody Merritt down in
the King of Florida, I believe.
Yeah, King of Florida.
Right. Well, speaking of mega matches, and now we fast forward because you have a monumental match coming up next month, October 16th in Texas. And I have to say, Mr. Todd Hutchings is your opponent. Take us back to how that match even came about.
It really didn't. I think I literally just got a message from Paul Italia asking me if I would, and I was, yeah, for sure. It wasn't much more than that. I've been around Todd a couple times, even pulled him a little bit at Michael's right after the injury.
Right.
I have no doubt that Todd is a very strong individual, but it'll be interesting. I like my chances. I like where I'm at in my progression from the injury. I'm excited.
Yeah, and here's the thing, because you guys were there at the same time in the Monster Factory when everyone was there preparing Michael to pull Devin. You were there. Don Underwood was there. Todd Zill was there. And you guys were helping Michael get prepared. Now, I know at some point, you and Todd probably got on the table, kind of messed around, felt each other and kind of, I'm sure he felt strong. I'm sure you felt strong to him. Did it ever occur to you that, maybe one day me and Todd might lock up? I know that was kind of earlier in the spring, but did it ever cross your mind at any point in time?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've always I think that's been discussed. I think that match had been discussed prior to that.
Okay.
I know that it was discussed a little bit whenever we were at that event together in Boise. So a lot of people, originally they tried to put me above Todd in the rankings because Todd came from the lighter weight class. There was a lot of pushback on that. I reached out and asked him to not put me ahead of him,
right?
Without beating him, because obviously his merit is a lot more than mine. And but I mean, it's always been talked about for the last couple of years, so it's exciting to finally to have the match set and everything to be looking good. So,
well, good. Now, in the last, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, he felt like a ton. It bothered me a little bit, just personally. On nothing anybody did. Just whenever I did finally get a chance to pull him, because I wanted to pull him in Boise, and then everybody got busy, and we didn't end up getting to pull it all.
Right.
I did get to pull Jordan Phil a little bit, but it bothered me a little deep down that I had regressed so much by the time we ever got to pull. When we did get to pull, like you said, me and Michael and Don were there, and Don's a strong guy, but my record's flawless against Don. And
right
on that day at that level, I couldn't even touch Don. So I mean, I knew that. Not that saying that Don wasn't a little better, but I knew that my level had dropped a lot at that point.
Right. So. Well, and I want to go a little further back, right? Not at the practice, but like late summer. And, here I am. I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and here's Chance coming off the, Fatal 4-Way, and he made a statement. I'm sure you've heard about it time and time again, how he thought the 3 super heavyweights of the future was himself, you, and Derek Smith. And I'm thinking, okay, which is good. And he also made a statement about how he'd rather pull you guys when all 3 of you guys are at the top of the mountain, as opposed to pulling you guys when you guys are climbing the mountain. When you heard that comment, what was going through your mind at the time?
Oh, I don't put a lot of stock in it. I don't think much about it. I mean, if the match opportunity comes up, then I'll be all for it.
Right.
If not, whatever. I think it's more likely that Derek will take a match against me, just because that's what seems to be going around right now and talked about. And I'd love to pull Derek. I don't mind to pull anybody. I don't care if he's not ranked or he's number 1 or whatever. It doesn't matter. I think Derek genetically has a much better chance to prove himself against a lot of people. Not knocking Chance. I like Chance. I think Chance is a great arm wrestler. I think he does have to be a little more careful on who he pulls stylistically if he wants to continue to go up. I think that I think he knows that. I'm not saying that's a bad. I think that's his play. I think that he's trying to be smart about it. And if he doesn't think that his chances match up well with somebody because of their style, then he'd rather match up. He'd try to get the guy above him that he matches up better with.
Right. And
I don't think I have a style that doesn't match up. I don't think I have an area that's a big, I think if somebody's a strong inside guy and they can force Chance inside, he's probably in trouble. I think Derek has a lot of inside power because I pulled him, and I think Derek has as much inside power as he does outside power or technique or whatever. So I think Derek stands a chance to climb regardless of how or who he pulls. Whereas, like I said, Chance has to be a little more careful on who he grabs hold of.
Right. This is what I see. And, since we're talking about Derek, we'll use him as an example. because this is what I see in 2022, right? Now, Derek, momentum building. And, for other reasons, he cannot attend the Arm Wars. Now, he had the King of California this past weekend. He beat Tom decisively, 3-0. Now he sits back and goes, okay, that pressure's off me now. Now you have a match coming up in a month against Toddzilla. Once that match comes and goes, okay, I see a collision point with Derek Smith and Corey West sometime in the near future, maybe 2022. And you already just admitted on the show that you would love to pull him. And I'm sure Derek feels the same way. So all you promoters out there, what's it going to take? Is it going to take a Paul Attilia? Is it going to take, whoever to make this thing happen? Let's just say, hey, Corey, Derek wants to pull you. How soon can you be ready? Or how much time will it take you to be ready for Derek Smith?
Oh, whenever. It just have to be worked out. But yeah, I don't have him. I think I have to check with. I know that I've got a potential match set up with Alex Gerdecka in Vancouver. I don't know all the logistics on it, so I'd have to get with them on all the details on that since I already committed to it.
Right.
But yeah, whatever works. I'm all about it. Like I said, I like Derek and Chance both a lot. I'm just as hungry to prove that I'm better than them as I am anybody else, though. So I don't, I don't have any discretion,
right?
Or I don't care. It's all about being the next guy. So if I've got to go through them to get somebody else, or go through them to prove something to the world or the arm wrestling community or whatever, then that's what I'll do. Whatever.
And I like that because, you're at a point where like, hey, I'll take on anybody to, climb that ladder. You're not one to take shortcuts. Heck, you sit there and you put the time in the gym, you put the time on the table, and it's like, okay, I'll just take what I can get. If they offer me that, yeah, let me check my schedule. I think that's the first thing that really clicks in. Let me check my schedule, because you have other commitments. You want to make sure that, hey, I got to honor this. I want to make sure that's taken care of first before I go any further. And I like that about you, because you're like straight up, hey, I have no problems pulling somebody, but it has to work out itself. It has to be like, okay, it can't be like, a month before I got another commitment, or a month after. Let me get through this first, and then we'll go from there. And we'll talk to the right people, and everything else will work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Being patient is the one thing that I've struggled with, and it's the one thing that has cost me time and time again. I'm trying to learn a lesson from it, I guess, with this last injury. I messed around a couple of years ago and fractured my right humerus pulling too hard too often.
Right.
And then the injury with Dave, I know I had an underlying issue before. I tried my best to be ready. I think I initially kind of tweaked it against Travis in Texas, playing around. And then I, was supposed to pull Bryce Talton at the Fallen Heroes event.
Right.
And then Cody Merritt decided he was going to come, and we worked out a 4-way, and it was me and Cody round one. And like I said, I think I was tweaked. And then I think Cody, probably made it a fair bit worse. And then I pulled matches after that, and I knew I had issues. I thought it might just be, quote unquote, arm wrestling pain.
Right.
I think it was a partially torn bicep at that point.
Ouch.
And then, I pulled Dave, and the whole thing let go. So, and that's nobody's fault but my own.
Right.
I 100% believe if I would have took more time from Travis to Cody, it would have healed up. It would have been a minor issue, and it would have been fine. But I trying to, push the envelope, or really not push it. Just, I hate to pass up opportunity. I'd never pulled Travis. I hate to pass up any opportunity to pull Cody. And then the Chafee thing, I just, call it greedy or whatever. I just wanted to pull them all.
No, I get that. And we have a lot of people in the chat with a lot of questions. So be ready. And don't forget, guys, hit the like button. Question number 1 from Justin Green. Mr. Corey, have you ever pulled chance before?
Yeah, you were there, weren't you?
Are you talking about in Waxahachie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there, but like it wasn't like a match. It was more like, it was a seminar type deal. You guys were pulling around.
Oh,
but
yeah. It was just playing around.
Right.
Yeah, I've never pulled in like in a tournament or anything, no.
Yeah.
We have no, we didn't. We pulled at another event. I pulled a super match at an event in Kansas City, and he pulled the tournament. But
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And Mr. Carl Stanley, King of Florida, or Brandon Morris, King of Florida, whoever. But Carl Stanley wants to know, hey, are you pulling the IFA Worlds, which would be next week?
No, I won't be there. I got things going. I don't have a ton of vacation at the moment. I had a career change, and we bought a new house or built a new house, and just too much going on. I couldn't take that kind of time off at the moment.
Right.
So.
And Joe Fox wants to know, he would love to see Corey versus Derek, and he wants to know, or even Corey versus Wayne. And I can speak on the Wayne Withers and Corey. That match already happened back in December of last year, and it was 3-0. Now, I don't know, would it be the same thing now? Maybe, maybe not. But it's that kind of goes without saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, we pulled recent. I pulled. We had that practice also with me, Wayne, Michael, Blake Perry, and Derek.
Yeah.
Right. What was that? That was. I think it was a few weeks after the Todd practice, the Todd and Don practice.
Right.
Because we practiced. I was kind of starting to get my. I feel like. Don and Todd was the first one, and I was nowhere close. But I progressed pretty quick after that. I got to pull around with Paul Lynn a couple of weeks after that. I felt quite a bit better then. And then, by the time I got to pull with Derek and Wayne and Blake, I was probably already back up to 80, 85%. And, had a pretty good time with that.
Right. Ryan Johnston wants to know, hey, are you bringing that left up to the Fallen Heroes event after your Todd match? I do believe that's a week apart.
Yeah, I probably can't take that kind of time off that close. I hate to miss it. I've been to the last couple, and, until this match came about, that was 100% in the agenda to go to. It just, too big of a match to pass up on.
Yeah, because you've been like a staple at that event. Because wasn't that a Fallen Heroes event where you pulled? I wonder, it was a fatal 4-way or whatever. But it was you, Bryce Talton, Cody Merritt. I want to say Jonathan Breida, or I could be.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Was that the Fallen Heroes event?
Yeah, that was the one where actually I think I had a partial tear. I ended up getting almost sick. I pulled Cody, had some pain. Pulled Breida, which Breida's way more of an inside puller, was able to stay pretty tight, and had some trouble with Breida, and thought I was okay. And then Bryce Talton, is a top roller, and he got leverage out on me,
right,
hit me the first time, and I almost threw up. It just so much pain in my bicep. Far more than when it actually tore off, surprisingly. So I took like probably 10 minutes. They got me some ice, got it iced and got it to quit throbbing, and ended up somehow forcing Bryce into a hook those last two matches, and taking second to Cody in the 4-way.
Right. And because I was watching video and I was like going, damn, that's a hell of a lineup right there, just with you 4 guys right there. And then another event that impressed me with the caliber of the guys in that weight class, the Michael Todd International, where you're in there. So was Don Underwood, Mike Aiello, Nick Zena. And I was like, we got some giants up in there just going at it.
Yeah. BJ Fokakis.
Yeah.
I think there was about 7 or 8 pretty, probably top 20-ish guys there. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, take us back, because then it's like, okay, when you get that kind of caliber pullers in one weight class, the one thing that really is going to matter is that, okay, who draws who first? And then we go from there. It's no different from like a round robin, like it all depends on matchup. Even in the tournament, hey, if you got 10 guys in the tournament, we all know 2 are going to get the buys. What 2 is going to get the buy? So a lot of it depends on that. So, when you, like I said, when you get to the Michael Todd International, you got all those guys in there. It's like, okay, and you throw in somebody like a Rush Shredder, you're really not sure what's going to happen until it does happen. And then you kind of just go from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good event. It, just got lucky and it kind of went my way. That was probably one of the, early staples on, feeling like I was getting close to belonging, like
Right.
I could break through at some point. And then, and in reality, I haven't, aside from that, overalls are up there, and Dan Mosier.
Yeah.
I lost to him in overalls. Then Dan is good. Do not get me wrong. I give Dan all the credit. But I never, we pulled recently and it was fine, and it was a little more, I was still pretty toast or whatever. But man, I literally pulled Don and we restarted like 3 times because he kept fouling or, having to, or I think I fouled and then he fouled, and then, just my elbow was killing me. And I don't think we'd been off the table 45 seconds. And they were like, let's do overalls. It was like, oh.
So you wanted that kind of, they kind of suckered you into that one, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. It's whatever. It just, it is what it is. But what I was saying, aside from that loss to Daniel Mosier, I think Daniel was the last one that had beaten me prior to that. And it was about 2 or 2.5 years ago, not long after the Passmore match.
Right.
But since that point, other than that one overalls, I've been on a pretty good streak.
Nice. Another question from Justin Green. He wants to know, how do you think your match with Todd's going to be? Will it go straight to the hook? Now, before you answer that, we all wish certain guys would go straight up. We thought Devin Larrett was going to go straight into a hook with Toddzilla back in Wall. Didn't happen. I was hoping Levon and Dave Schaefer would go into a hook. It didn't happen. So here's Justin's question. Hey, Corey, are you and Todd going to go hook for hook and go to inside power and let the best man win? Or is that a little bit too much of your game plan that's out in the open?
I am going to do my best to win. I'm not trying to prove. I mean, if something crazy happens and I, pull it out and we didn't go into a hook, I'd be more than glad to pull him in a hook just to find out. Mm-hmm. But my top priority is to come out as a winner. I don't, I'm not going to sacrifice that or chance that by saying I'll only pull him in a certain way or will pull him in a certain way. So, whatever, if I feel a gap or an angle or, something that leads me to believe I have a better chance in another area, that's where I'm going to go. But like I said, if it comes down to it at the end and it didn't happen and, he's up for it, then I'm up for it. I'm just not willing to sacrifice money or, a spot in the rankings and something I've worked for over that.
No. And if you worked hard, and we sit there and wonder, there's things I would love to see Corey do. Maybe one of these days, once this pandemic is all gone, we'd love to see Corey make that trip to Nemiroff, to see, okay, now we can see Corey against some of those European guys and just go, okay, let's have it. Now, with that being said, you do have a match and you have to get together with, Jeff Frank, because you do have a match with Alex Cordeca. However, before that happens, he's also pulling Ryan Espy, at Arm Wars, left and right. And since you got Alex Cordeca down the road, I'm sure some way, somehow, you're going to be very invested in that match coming up. Yes or no?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter to me either way. Obviously, it'd be better for me if Alex won, because then it would hold more weight if I were to pull him and, you know, potentially win. Because I think, I could be wrong, but I think the last time I looked, he's like number 13
something like that. Right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I'd love for him to keep his ranking, no doubt. But, you know, I like Ryan, and if Ryan won, I'm happy for Ryan, and I'm still going to gladly pull Alex for sure. So, yeah, it's whatever. It'd be selfish to say I hope, you know, Alex won, because I feel like I'm buddies with Ryan for sure, way more than I am Alex. So I'd be pulling for Ryan.
Right. And, you know, I understand you have to pull anybody because that's what you do. You want to compete. Is there anybody out there you love if you have a top three? Doesn't matter what order, what three guys you would love to pull on the table?
Man, I mean, honestly, I've got two of the three in line, and I just need to get Tim Breslin on board after I get through with Alex. I just, you know, I mean, if everything goes my way, Tim will be the next one that I'm wanting to get together with for sure.
And there you go. And Tim Breslin, you know, honestly has a small hand for a super heavyweight, but he does have the pronation power to get it done. Now, granted, you know, when he's up there against, you know, Levon or anybody for that matter, it doesn't look good, you know, but I would love to see a Breslin versus Corey matchup, you know. Whether it happens, I hope it does, but I know you got to take care of all your commitments that's in front of you first before you start thinking ahead. And I do understand that. And that is a match we all love to see. You know, I would love to see you pull Chance or Derek, you know, and not wait for the momentum and all. I'd rather see you do that ASAP. The sooner the better. Maybe, you know, you versus Ryan Espy might happen. Who knows? But those are just names out there off the top of my head. I would love to see you pull. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Ron's always joking about us pulling. Obviously, he's finally gotten out a little bit. You know, Canada had some pretty tough, strict guidelines on what they were doing with the COVID stuff. But, yeah, I'd love to pull Ron. I'd love to pull Matt. I mean, there's a whole laundry list of people I'd love to pull on the way to getting to pull, you know, somebody like Devin or Dave or,
yeah,
you know.
Now, what about you and maybe a Mike Aiello? How would you think you fare against someone like that?
Well, I mean, we pulled last year at the Monster Michael Todd International. You know, I think Mike, I've spoke to Mike lately. I know Mike is a little, I hate to say burnout. I know his priorities are elsewhere.
Right.
He's having a lot of fun doing some other things. If he was very motivated, I think he could be very close. If he just took it, you know, and wanted to just do it to pull, I think that it might not be so close. But, you know, Mike has the ability to pull at a very high level, and then, you know, nice. Depending on how much he's in it at the time.
So here's another question. When you're in Texas, right, and you have that big matchup with Tazilla, is it just the match you're pulling, or are you also going to participate in the tournament also?
Probably. I might pull left-handed in the tournament. I probably won't compete right-handed because I know what potentially, you know, if that match goes inside, then I'll be trashed afterwards no matter win or lose.
Right. And I will say this, and I don't know how you feel, but I would love to get your opinions about that. Once, you know, an arm wrestler gets to a certain level, you kind of see them, and they're doing good. You kind of slowly see them kind of phasing out of tournaments and doing more and more one-on-one matchups. Do you think that's true? If it's true, why do you think that is?
Man, I mean, I still love tournaments. I just hate to show up to one and be a heavy favorite and, you know, discourage anybody else from competing or, you know, it's kind of like the Arkansas State thing. I told Michael I probably would never compete at it again. I'd gladly be there and ref, but, you know, I've won it a couple times and the competition level is just not, you know, high enough for me to gain or enjoy or, you know, almost feel like a dick for even entering, you know. So I think it's more that than anything. I'd love to pull a high-level tournament. I don't gain or enjoy don't gain anything or enjoy, you know, manhandling guys that aren't quite there yet.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a dick move because think about it and hear me out for a second. Because you feel the same way as Chance does in Florida. There's nothing for him. Now, that's not saying that anybody else is beneath him. It's just, and I'll just give you two reasons off the bat. Number one, if I go to Arkansas State, I can't wait to go to Michael Tyler International. And let's just say I'm there, all of a sudden I see you and you put your name in the hat. It's like, fuck, I guess we're all pulling for second now. So you get that going on, right? And then you kind of go, okay, if I do this, then, what do you get out of it? Yeah, I beat somebody that's supposed to win. Then it becomes not fun for you. And the sport should be fun for everybody. So, yeah, then you'd be like, okay, hey, Mike, I'm not going to pull, but I tell you what, you need me to rep, I'll do it. You need me to do help brackets, whatever, I can do that too. So, I don't think it's a dick move. I just think, when you get to a certain point and you're like one of the top guys in the state, it's like, you know what? I've been there, done that. I just want to help out to keep the thing going because, more oftentimes than not, and even Tim Bresnan has said this before too, he's even like, you know what? I'm going to pull my name out of the hat because I will discourage a lot of people in that weight class when they see my name in there. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I probably got 8 or 10 messages before Arkansas State this year asking me if I was going to compete. And, it was them, and which all of them didn't end up showing up, but a lot of them did. I mean, and, had I said yes, I don't gain anything from it. Somebody else getting first place probably means a lot more to them than it would to me.
Right. Jester Green wants to know, are you ever going to compete at a Zlati Nemiroff tournament one of these years?
Yeah, I would think that's pretty for sure at some point. I just, like I said, vacation slim at the moment, and just kind of taking it day by day. Got a lot of other good opportunities going, and just hadn't made itself doable yet.
And I totally get that. And like you said you guys are building a new house.
Yeah, we built a new home, and I took a different job, and just a lot of change, a lot of things going on.
Right.
It's kind of getting back to normal now, but it wasn't for a few months. So
good. And and congratulations on the new house, because I know that building a new house is not an easy thing to do. So congratulations on that. So I just wanted to put that out there. So with this match coming up with Todzilla, I don't want to give out any secrets, but does your training change for a certain someone as for when you're getting ready for actual tournament? Does your training change?
No, I mean, I pretty much, I've been really lucky with the Michael, being readily available, and then just genetically being a stronger inside. It's kind of crazy that my inside strength has gotten to what it is, because honestly, me and Michael hardly ever pulling a hook. But he's 100% the reason that my hand is so strong and that I can turn most top rollers right in with hardly any issues.
Right.
And then, like I said, just genetics and the way my strength is with the, I give my big bench press a lot of credit for being so good inside, because my chest and my back, I can just lock everything so tight from having, just a lot of, chest strength and back strength. It's been a really good blessing to be forced to have a good, strong hand, and then just be genetically gifted as a good, strong inside puller. So I feel like if I have to pull an inside puller, I stand a good chance because that's where I'm strong. And if I pull an outside puller, I stand a really good chance because I can turn them in, because I've been forced to pull that way so often with Michael.
Right. One last question before we put a bow tie on the show. And my question is, what is the ultimate goal for Mr. Corey West? Is it attain a world title, or is it, become the best there is, or whatever? What is the ultimate goal for you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think a lot of people share the same goal in this sport. Probably one of the things that me and Michael share the most. I've always had, and it wasn't always arm wrestling, but I've always just had this weird desire to be the very best in the world at something. And, for a long time, I didn't know what it was. And I thought it was football for a long time. And, here we are now. And that's, I feel like, call it destiny or whatever. I feel like this is it.
Right. Well, good, man. I'm glad. I know you I don't want to take you away from your weekend with your wife and everything, but I do want to, thank you for taking a little bit of time out your day to join me on the show so we can kind of go over some questions and try to get to know the Corey, to see how the injury is going, to see, what upcoming events you got coming up aside Tadzilla, and your opinions on all these other fine athletes in our sport. So I do want to thank you very much, and I hope to talk to you down the road.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Take care, man. Take care of that injury, and good luck. All right, take care. That was Corey West. He has a major match coming up October 16th in Texas. He will be pulling one Tadzilla. And some way, somehow, yes, Corey says he's going for the win. But I know for a fact he's going to do whatever necessary to have that W. If that means he has to top roll him, he'll have to top roll. I don't foresee Todd top rolling him. I think Todd's going to go inside. All right, big boy, let's see what you got. It may go into that. Who knows? But we're going to have to see. But again, that's next month. We still got other stuff before that. We still got IFA Worlds next week. We still got October 2nd. We got Zinc down there in, I believe, San Antonio, Texas. So we got other stuff coming on before then. However, it is a Friday night. I'm going to cut y'all loose. I want you guys to go ahead and start your weekend. So thank you for joining me earlier today with Jason Latona. And thank you again for joining me one more time tonight with Corey West. And as always, I will see you when I see you. Y'all take care. Enjoy your weekend.